Hi, I'm Kali Persephone. Thank you for watching. I would like to talk about the Epstein files today and the collective sexual shadow. So, I'm sure you know what's going on right now. A lot of truth is coming out about some very dark things happening in our government with people in power and people and celebrities. Prominent figures are being exposed for participating in, you know, pedophilia, satanic ritual abuse, different things, and the light is being shined on the darkness. And many of you, like me, knew this was happening for years, and people didn't believe you, and I don't blame them because it's really hard to accept something so dark as reality, and it takes a lot to process it. And so, if you've known forever, then thank you for holding space for others and being the light, because the world needs it so badly. And if you didn't know about this, I want to send you love and I want to hold space for you. This is something that's very heavy and it's not easy to process. It's very hard to accept. And even me, who has known about it since 2020, I'm still having trouble accepting it and processing it. It's like I'm processing it all over again. And I feel very compelled to speak about this. This is a topic that has been placed on my heart by God lately, and I feel we have to talk about this. If we don't talk about this, then we can't have true change. So, basically, the lightest part of humanity, like people like the Buddha, Krishna, and Jesus being the highest possible version of humanity, that is a reflection, that is an extreme light version of humanity, but we also have the extreme dark version of humanity. And when humanity goes into extreme darkness, into extreme polarity of the dark, they participate in deviant sexual acts which are predatory and involve stealing innocence from the most innocent, the children. And this is going to be hard to admit to ourselves and to talk about, but our darkest shadow is a more intense version of the shadow that is within all of us. It is a collective shadow. We as a collective have a very dark sexual shadow, and this does not mean that all of us are pedophilic inside. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is we have been programmed since birth to carry sexual shame. Religion, society in general has deeply ingrained sexual shame within us, and at the same time, it has hypersexualized everything. So it pushes sex down our throats, hypersexualizes, at the same time, it shames us for being sexual. This creates a collective shadow, and this manifests in many different ways, including pornography, a big one, sex trafficking, as obviously the darker, deeper part, pedophilia, darker, deeper part, and all kinds of things. And there's obviously a scale, a spectrum, where you can have completely normal, regular people. They experience sexual thoughts that are darker in nature, and they obviously do not act on them or give them energy, but they experience it because it's in the collective consciousness. And then we have people that maybe watch pornography that is a little darker in nature. And then we have people that have these pedophilic feelings but don't act on them, and then we keep going and going and going, and it gets darker and darker. And I want to say, I think the biggest problem that we can address and work through right now is pornography. And this is coming from someone who's not like super prude. I'm not like super religious. I have just had experience in this subject, and this is really hard for me to say online to the whole world, but I need to. I went through that experience for a reason. In my early 20s, I could say that I had somewhat of an addiction for a little bit, for a few months, a year maybe. And in that addiction, I experienced intrusive thoughts. While I was watching this stuff, intrusive thoughts came into my head that were darker in nature. And I don't know where they came from. At the time, I wasn't spiritual, so I didn't know. Obviously, I didn't further, it didn't progress, and I didn't go look for material or anything that had to do with it. And I'm not going to say exactly what it was. It wasn't the extreme darkness, but it was darker in nature, and it was something that I would be ashamed to say out loud, and I would actually not want to say out loud. And looking back on it, I felt so much shame about it. Like, why was my mind thinking of those things and feeling the sexual energy towards it? What the hell is going on? But as I progressed on my spiritual path, I have learned that not all thoughts come from us. Not all thoughts are our own. Sometimes thoughts get put into our head through, I'll just say, energies. There is an energy around us that we cannot see, whether you want to accept it or not. Energy is real. And there are also entities that can influence people. You can call them whatever you want. You can call them demons, or you can simply call them thought forms, collective shadow thought forms, egregores. But they influence us in our mind, and they can put thoughts in our heads. And when we are a certain vibration, then we attract them more easily. They can come into our mind more easily. And when we are exposing ourselves to certain materials, pornography, they have more access to us. I really believe that certain beings, maybe human on the planet, maybe not, have attached a lot of entities, egregores, dark energy to pornography. I think there is so much parasitic attachment, and dark entities feed off of it. And this is on purpose. And they plant images and thoughts in your head because they want to keep lowering your energy and lowering you more and more and more, so they can feed on you more and more and more. And this is such a complex topic because we have to talk about why these predators that are in power are doing the things that they are doing, that we are finding out about from these files. Why are they committing such horrible, atrocious, disgusting acts? And there's all kinds of theories, but to put it in simpler terms, to not get too esoteric, there are energy entities that can attach to people, and this does not excuse humans in any way. You are responsible for your actions, no matter what. Even if you have a parasitic attachment, you cannot commit such atrocities. That is not an excuse. However, the unseen world is real. The astral world is real. And these parasitic entities feed off of pain, fear, trauma, suffering. They feed off of it. These entities are disconnected from God to a certain degree. Therefore, because they are disconnected from God, they are not getting the energy, the life force that they need to survive from God. They are too far removed from God because they chose the dark path. And because they are not getting the life force they need, they will slowly start to disintegrate, to phase out of existence. I don't know, restart the karma, the cycle of karma, whatever it is that is the consequence of not having connection to God. They are getting closer and closer to that, and they are scared of that. So they don't want that to happen. So what do? How do they get life force to keep surviving and to keep going and to hopefully not have to deal with karma? The way they get life force is to feed off of it from humanity. They do not have a direct lifeline to God like we do, because they are not even incarnated into a human vessel, which is a reflection of God. They are so disconnected. They need to feed on negative energy to survive. So they especially, this is important, they can especially feed upon sexual energy when it is in combination with fear. Sexual energy and fear. Fear is just basically the accumulation of all negative energy that probably isn't the right word to use, but you know what I mean. Fear represents all the dark energy. And these beings especially get their life force from sexual energy, because sexual energy is creative energy. But if you invert that creative energy into fear, that is the best food for them. So we all have a connection to God, and especially through orgasm, we can connect to God for healing. Orgasms are very healing, especially if they're with someone that you love and your hearts are open. This orgasmic energy can heal you so much, and it connects you to God. But these beings know that. So what are they trying to do? They are trying to get us to feel so much shame around sex, to pull our hearts down, to pervert the energy, to turn this energy into something full of fear, full of shame, and they can turn this energy into hurting another person and getting pleasure from that. That is the ultimate food for them. I wasn't expecting this to go this way, but I think it's important to talk about all of this. And I just want to say, disclaimer, I know it's late in the video, but disclaimer, these are all my opinions and they are not fact. Okay? My opinions may change tomorrow. I don't know. These are just my opinions right now. And I feel strongly because I've had experiences related to this. And I've seen what pornography does to people. And I've seen how it poisons the mind. And if you are a sex worker, I love you and I'm not judging you at all. Okay? And not all porn is created equal. Okay? There is some out there that is more higher consciousness, more, love based. So I'm not saying all of it's bad, okay? I'm just saying this is what can happen when we let our sexual shadow, we just let it run free and we don't try to heal it and try to bring it to the light. All right, so I'm getting somewhere. All of this negative sexual energy is being fed to these entities and they want more and more. And I don't know exactly what happens in Hollywood and in the government of all countries. I don't exactly know how the rituals work, but I do know that they are promised something in return from these entities. Why do you think they give these sacrifices? They've been doing sacrifices since the beginning of time. Why do you think they do it? They don't just do it because they think it's going to do something for them and they're just guessing. They actually get something from it. I'm not exactly sure how it works and what they get from it. I just know that they do get something from it. Whether these entities are just giving them lower center pleasure from their lower chakras, or if they're giving them something, if they can materialize something, if they can give them power, or whatever they can give them. I believe that there is some kind of symbiotic, parasitic relationship happening, and this is why these people get addicted to doing these despicable things, because it's a cycle. They keep feeding the system of fear and of dark sexual energy, and then they keep getting something back, and then they keep wanting more and more and more. And of course, there's also so much we could talk about. We could talk about the blood aspect. I don't even know if I want to say the word on here, but it starts with an A. But I just wanted to bring it back to our own sexual shadow as humans. So, could this happen on a much smaller scale to a much less extreme version with everyday humans? Yes, it probably could. I do think that when humans feed their fear negative sexual energy and they have releases, orgasms through darker material or darker thoughts, this is feeding the entities to some degree, and the entities probably make them feel good or give them something. And therefore, people get addicted and they keep doing it, and it pulls them deeper and deeper and darker and darker. And I just want you to be really honest with yourself right now and think about all those thoughts that you've had watching pornography or just from something else, anything else. Think of the thoughts that have manifested in your mind that did not feel like it came from you. When you really think about it, it's not really you. You think, why am I thinking these somewhat disturbing things? And why am I having a sexual reaction to something that's not fully love, you know? And for an example, like a really mild example would be the degrading of women in pornography, you know, like calling her a slut. And, you know, I don't want to say too many things on here, but degrading other people, that is just a very mild version of this. Which there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. If that's what you like, I'm not trying to shame you. And that's also to my next point, is adding shame into that. So you're having these thoughts that are coming into your head and you're shameful. You're so ashamed of them that perpetuates it. Shame just keeps the cycle going. It keeps you attracting more of that because you're so ashamed, you're so resistant. But that does not mean that you embrace it either. The only way to really move through it is to observe it without judgment, to try to just get into neutrality and think, oh, that's interesting. That thought didn't come from me. Don't really want to give it any more energy though. Let it go away. And I'm telling you, there is nothing wrong with you. You are not bad for having thoughts, okay? They are not always your responsibility. Sometimes they come from outside of you. What you do next, though, is what you give energy to. That's what matters. And I just want to tell you that if you are ashamed of anything, I want you to forgive yourself right now. Give yourself compassion and love. Just forgive yourself. Let it all go. It is okay. We all are capable of having fantasies that aren't the highest vibration, that aren't the most loving. And it's okay, because chances are it's probably not even coming from you. And this goes so deep. This goes into misogyny and how women are objectified. And that's also a minor example, is how women are objectified. And you don't realize it until you start paying attention. And it's everywhere. And I have to wrap this video up because it's getting long, but I just want you to sit with yourself and think about it and really ponder it, process it. Think, what are my sexual shadows? What are things that I'm ashamed about things that I've thought and things that I've, wondered about and in my mind? What am I so ashamed of? I want you to sit with that feeling of shame. Just sit with it for a little bit. Just let yourself feel it. Just say, I feel ashamed. This does not feel good. Underneath shame is, I'm afraid I am not worthy of love anymore. I'm afraid that I'm not good enough. I'm afraid that God will stop loving me. That's the deepest wound. And then you start feeling into that and you start healing some deep shadows. You start doing the work. You are doing the healing work. And that is how this is changed. That is how we heal from this as a collective, so that we can purge out the deepest, darkest parts of ourselves that's manifested to the extreme in the elite sacrifices and whatever they're doing. That is an extreme manifestation of the shadow that is already within ourselves. And the only way that we can heal this shadow is love and compassion. We have to first sit with the shame, sit with the guilt, feel it. Do not run from it. Feel it through your body. Let your body feel it. But then I want you to invite God's love and forgiveness. Feel forgiveness for yourself. Invite God's love within you and forgive yourself. It is okay. You can forgive yourself now. There's nothing wrong with you. We're all capable of picking up on these thoughts, and it is okay, as long as we can forgive ourselves and then we choose to not give energy to those thoughts anymore. We choose to maybe change our habits if we can over time, and ask God's help to change your habits, because it can happen. Even if you've had an extreme addiction your whole life to pornography, you can grow out of it and heal from it. And the first step is to feel the shame, but then forgive the shame. Forgive yourself. And I'm telling you, you are worthy of forgiveness. You are worthy of forgiveness. And everything's going to be okay. And together we can heal this collective shadow. The only way we can heal it is through love. Not shaming each other, not saying what the hell is wrong with you, not saying you're disgusting, not even saying those things to ourselves. Feeling the shame that is within our bodies so that we may release it. We may shake the shame out of our bodies so that we can invite love in. Because once we release shame and we invite love in, chances are we are going to grow out of those habits. We are going to not give energy to those thoughts anymore. Because we have released the shame, and the shame is what they are feeding off of. They are feeding off of the shame. That is how they implant these thoughts in the first place, is through shame. Sexual shame is one of the deepest wounds of humanity, and it is poisoning us. And the only way out of shame is through love. Love is the only thing that can heal us. And it is so hard to look at the darkness right now because we are seeing the extreme versions of it right in our faces, and we are seeing that this is going on with so many people that have been leaders of us. Our leaders have been the deepest, darkest manifestations of sexual shame, and it is so hard to look at. I am still having so much trouble every day with the rage and sadness and just trying to process it, trying to have hope. But the only way we can have hope is if we heal ourselves first. We must have justice, yes, absolutely, but at the same time, we must look within ourselves. We must heal our shame. And the only way we can heal shame and fear and guilt is through love and acceptance and forgiveness. And through that, you will be able to choose differently and to stop giving energy to it. When you stop giving energy, they have nothing. They can't feed off of it anymore. And love is the only thing that will heal that. I love you guys.